This video is based on translations commissioned by 2 Portuguese linguistic experts. Just as we do with everything in this investigation, we simply report what experts in the relevant fields tell us. The linguistic report will be linked in the description. By putting this video out, we do not approve of taking the Lord's name in vain, nor do we want to propagate this behaviour. This is but another piece of evidence which, with all the rest we have collected, demonstrates clearly that the woman portrayed is not the true Seer of Fatima, the real Sister Lucy. There are moments when a photograph captures more than an image. It captures a soul. This is Sister Lucia dos Santos in 1946, photographed at the cemetery in Fatima. Kneeling in prayer. Look at her hands. Look at how her whole body bows toward heaven. This is what prayer looks like when it's real. No audience, no performance, just a soul pouring itself out before God. The real Sister Lucy lived her entire life this way, hidden, humble, absorbed in God. She wrote about Francisco and Jacinta with a love so pure it still brings tears to those who read her words. Francisco was always contemplating the hidden God. He would spend hours before the tabernacle silent, adoring. Jacinta could not speak of souls going to hell without weeping. If only I could show them, she would say. Sister Lucy remembered everything about them. Words, sacrifices, the way they suffered and never complained. She carried their memory as a sacred trust, and she prayed, oh how she prayed, that the world would one day recognize what these children had been. Saints. May 13th, 2000. 83 years after Our Lady first appeared at Fatima, the Vatican announces that Francisco and Jacinta Marta will be beatified at Fatima itself, at the very spot where they saw the Mother of God. Their images, massive photographs 10 meters high, will hang in the basilica for hundreds of thousands of pilgrims to see. After decades of silence, after dying so young, after suffering so much, finally, the Church proclaims to the world, these children were blessed, these children were holy. Now imagine your Sister Lucy, the only witness left alive, the one who promised to tell their story, the one who watched little Jacinta die in a hospital bed, alone, offering her pain for sinners, the one who held Francisco's hand and promised she would never forget him. How would you react when you heard this news? This is the woman the world was told was Sister Lucy in the year 2000. She's being informed about the beatification. Watch her face.
Sabe quantos metros vai ter a fotografia do Francisco e da Jacinta? Assim, em altura? 10 metros de altura.
2 metros de altura.
10.
Did you see it? When she hears that Francisco and Jacinta will be honoured with 10-meter photographs, watch her expression again.
Assim, em altura? 10 metros de altura.
2 metros de altura.
10.
On the right, a woman lost in prayer, her entire being oriented toward God. On the left, a woman who looks annoyed, uncomfortable, almost jealous. One of these women loved Francisco and Jacinta with her whole heart. One of them didn't. I don't want to be cruel. I don't want to judge unfairly, but I cannot ignore what I see. This woman, young Sister Lucy, alone in that cemetery, if you told her that one day the whole world would honour Francisco and Jacinta, that their faces would tower over the basilica, that millions would come to pray at their tomb, she would have collapsed in joy. She would have wept until she had no tears left. She might have prostrated herself and thanked God with her whole body. Because it was never about her. It was always about them. But this woman, when she hears they're being honoured, grimaces. She looks away. There's no joy, no tears of gratitude, no relief. There's something else, something that looks painfully like envy. Love rejoices in the beloved's honour. Love says, finally, the world will see what I've always known. Love doesn't keep score. Love isn't threatened when someone else is praised. But jealousy says, what about me? Why them and not me? Jealousy sees honour given to another and feels diminished. Look at this woman praying. Does she look like someone who cares about recognition? Does she look like someone who would be jealous of two children she loved more than her own life? No. She looks like someone who forgot the camera existed. She looks like someone completely absorbed in God. But this woman, the one presented as Sister Lucy after 1958, is filmed here, using the Lord's name in vain, and it appears in anger, not in reverence. For a Portuguese mystic and Carmelite nun, this would have been unthinkable, blasphemous even. The real Sister Lucy whispered God's name in adoration. This woman used it as a curse. Francisco died at age 10, whispering the names of Jesus and Mary. Jacinta died at age 9, her body ravaged by illness, offering it all for the conversion of sinners. They were children, innocent, suffering, holy children. And the real Sister Lucy, the one kneeling in that cemetery in 1946, would have given anything to see them honoured like this. She wouldn't have looked irritated. She would have smiled through tears and whispered, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Mary. Thank you for letting the world finally see what I've always known. They were saints. They were always saints." You can disguise a face. You can learn mannerisms, forge signatures. But in an unguarded moment, when you hear unexpected news, the heart reveals itself, and hearts don't lie. I don't know who the woman in the 2000 footage is. I don't know what happened to the real Sister Lucy, when or how. But I know this. The woman on the right loved Francisco and Jacinta with a pure, selfless, holy love. The woman on the left did not. And that tells me everything I need to know. The real Sister Lucy made a promise. In her memoirs she wrote, "I have only one ambition, that the example of Francisco and Jacinta will lead souls to give themselves entirely to God. Not that I will be remembered, not that my role will be honoured, but that they, those two innocent children, would draw souls to heaven." Everything she wrote, everything she suffered, everything she endured in her long life of obscurity was for them. So I ask you, if you knew Sister Lucy, if you lived with her, prayed with her, heard her speak about Francisco and Jacinta, is this the woman you knew? Is this how she would have reacted? And if you never knew her, but you know what love looks like, which of these women loved Francisco and Jacinta?